I faked it. Basically, I said, I know the effect that I want. How do I get it? Well,
Mm.
I apply a force to my object to replace traditional gravity, which is a thing in Corona or in Box 2D, with my own personal gravity thingy, a localized force.
It seems like a lot of game development turns out to be that, right? When you see something, you're like, how did they accomplish that? Right? Like we were talking on the other day about creating puzzle pieces and having them snap together and all that kind of stuff. And then when you start digging into the details, you're like, oh, that's an illusion, or that's a you faked that part.
99% of game development is illusions.
Right.
Really what it is it's like I described early on. You have an idea or you see something that you want to do that somebody else has done and you want to experiment and try it. You say, what are the tools that I have in my toolbox? How do I know to do these generic things? And how can I take those generic things and combine them into an end result that does the same thing? I guarantee you that these guys probably, or guarantee, I'm not sure which now, did not use gravity to do this. Because there's some issues with using gravity to implement this game. But we're not going to go there today. There are some things. Let me show you one little thing. You see this guy right here? See how he's wobbling around on the square bit?
Yeah.
So I can rock him around like that.
Yeah. Right.
Why does it do that? Because it's a square, but the force is always trying to push this right into the middle. So the further out on the edge you get, then there gets to be what's called a torque, because it's trying its dangdest. I was going to say another word. It's trying its darndest to get this white object into the center here. But the object itself is pushing back because it's got a physical body.
Yeah. And as you go out to the corner, you get farther and further away from the center point, right?
Yeah, you get further from the center point, but then it compensates because it says, well, shoot, if I can't go there, I'll try to get you closer. And it pushes it this way. A torque.
Hmm.
Because there is a moment of inertia there. There's an arm. There is a lever effect. And you're like, okay, everybody said, what? I don't know what you're talking about now.
Well,
So we'll
cool.
talk
Well,
about how to fix that problem later.
all right. Good.
Okay, so before I know we're past,
Okay.
and I just want to reiterate, no air control. You can jump numerous times. We have not applied the art yet. We're gonna fix these things in a later hangout. But the essence of today's show was the player calculates the distance. What we do is we calculate the distance from the player to all the objects we want to be possibly attracted to. We find the nearest object. Then we do a number of vector calculations to create a force vector, and then we apply that force vector in the middle of the player in the direction we want it to go, and the physics engine takes over and does the rest. When it hits the body, it stops. It's really, literally that simple.
Good. Okay. That feels like a good place to stop then. So let's do that, and we'll look at the rest of it moving forward. We're doing it next week. So
So I encourage people to download the code and play with it.
yeah, basically that's what you should be doing at this point: is download it and break it.
Yeah, I'm sure
Right?
you'll find bugs, but
No, well, I mean, just like
it's well documented.
go in and adjust the variables like you were doing. Go in
Yeah.
and
Oh,
see
I
what
want
things
to show
do.
people one more cool feature. I'm sorry, I got to do this. I forgot I wanted to do this. So one thing when you're laying out your levels, you're like, I really can't. I don't want to play the level every time to see the layout. So I made these little variables at the top, which are level grid, button size, block size, etc. And if you want to see the whole layout, what you can do is simply do this. Multiply the gap size by 1/4 or 1/2. Just go into line 24, change it, and reload it. And
We're still seeing you,
also,
by the way. I'm still seeing your
oh,
face. I mean, if you're showing us something, that's cool.
yeah, my face. I'm sorry. Let's try that again. Okay. So on line in common.lua, let me back up here. You want to see your whole level. Well, an 8x8 grid's not going to fit on the screen. So what you do is you multiply the block size by 1/2, and then actually I'm going to leave this bit off because everything is kind of related to the block size. See how the block size is used to calculate the player size and the gap size? So if
Okay.
you make the block size 1/2 of its normal size, and then you reload the game, the whole grid gets smaller, and all the pieces get smaller. So now you can see them all. and you can so on and so forth, make it even smaller. And now you can do a whole layout and see the whole 8x8 grid, and you're like, that's the layout I was looking for. Instead of playing through every time when you're making your levels using level 1 Lua. So that's just what you're seeing here, but obviously more visually attractive here because you can kind of see how it's laid out.
Oh, cool. So that makes me think of, like having a peek feature, where you can like kind of peek over to the next piece and see, so like you've got those controls at the bottom, the D-pad controls at the bottom and stuff, and then if you hit like a peek button, you could hit the peek, and then you could like maybe peek to the left, peek to the right.
Now I was gonna give a button to like zoom in and out,
Mm-hmm.
but then I'm like, I can just multiply by 1/4 and you're done.
Right. But those are in-app purchases. You want to buy some more peaks?
Yeah. In-app purchases. What am I thinking? Monetize.
Earn peaks.
There's
that monetize again. Yeah. All right. Well, cool. And Brian, you said you've got some similar examples beginning in the beginning mobile app development textbook.
Well, when that's referencing back to what Ed was talking about at the beginning for designing the levels. I did something similar with my Rotten Apples example of the flow of enemies onto the screen. So completely different type of game, but yes, there's a similar example of using an array or a field to control the flow of the game.
Okay, cool. All right. Well, there you go, guys. I think that's a good place for us to stop. We've got a lot of stuff we want to cover in the next show, so be sure to check the show notes. We'll have links to this. You can download it, play with it, and then come back with questions. Let us know what you have, things that you want us to explain a little more or unpack or whatever, and then we'll have more for you next week. So be back here next Monday at 12 p.m. Pacific to talk all about mobile app development. And until then, have a great week and happy coding.
Auf Wiedersehen.